Welcome back, everybody, for our Day 2 E3 Roundup review. This is Ian here, bringing you news from what we're finding on the show floor and what's going down at E3. Today, the big scheduled thing being Nintendo's conference. Now, this was the main thing on the schedule, and it's kind of crazy. Chris and I were talking about this in our last review overall that we covered for both Sunday and Monday, that everything is so front loaded for this show. It's wild. So from here out and for the rest of the show, we're going to be also bringing news from some of the ongoing streams that are still happening and a lot of the individual developers and things that will be going on with those that you likely will not get on some of the mainline streams. So please stay tuned for that. But let's go right into it. Today's showcase really centered around something pretty safe. I think a pretty safe tactic, similar to Sony, going over a lot of things that are in production, and some things we knew of, others that we didn't, but nonetheless they stayed on that track and really just dead focused on what's happening with Nintendo Switch, of course, what some of the other things we can actually look forward to, and what are as well some of the ports that are going to be coming over that people can expect to play on Switch. Hands down, the show stealer for Nintendo was, you guessed it, Smash Brothers. Smash fans are likely to go crazy about that. So I'm gonna slate that just for 1 second though before I delve into it and all the news there for their main feature. And I do want to go over a few of the other big announcements they had, of course. So, all right, you got the general rundown. Here is the rest. We got a new trailer for Fortnite. Now, Fortnite is available on Switch right now. You can play this for free. You get the Battle Royale experience, and you can go for it. Hey, so if you're looking into this, download it from the Nintendo eShop, and that should be available now. Crossplay is another question. There's been a couple articles out about how Sony is blocking this one from having full crossplay over from Nintendo Switch users for a few others. So look out for that if you've got friends on different platforms or anything like that, or you're trying to play together regardless of which one you own. You might want to be pretty cautious of that. We also found out that Mario Party is on its way to Switch. It looks like this is heading for an October 5th release. That's for this year. And this is really going to make use of a bunch of the Switch's capabilities. I still don't own one myself, although what we saw from Starlink yesterday with the Star Fox appearances, sure makes me want to get one, I can tell you that. Another thing that was really high up on the lead list here that we saw up front was Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, the Fire Emblem series is really prolific and has had some fantastic releases and some really good gameplay. So it should be no surprise following with that star-studded history. It looks like we have another really seamless blend of anime styling and gameplay, along with really slick-looking blended combat that seems to transition very well scene to scene. Of course, not right out of an anime cutscene itself or anything, but the animation style of this, both for cutscenes and both for in-game, really match one another really well. So you're pulled in. It really keeps that sense of immersion for you, which looks great. This is pretty important. Again, this is called Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, this is the first console Fire Emblem game ever since the one we had in 2007. I think that was Radiant Dawn Fire Emblem, if I remember right. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal on the release. This is a series that I've come to know on portables lately, more than anything. But luckily, we won't have too long to wait for this. You won't get it this year, but it looks like this is set sometime in spring 2019. So hopefully, when we get a more of a date or more of a confirmation on that, we can talk about it some more. But I highly recommend you go check this trailer out. It's, of course, all over YouTube and whatnot. That's Fire Emblem Three Houses. Looks really slick. Other than that, we've got a port for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, this game is red hot in the fighting community. I am just off of checking this out at Combo Breaker Live, seeing Sonic Fox in the finals, and you've got a hype game when you can get thousands of people to power up at once on a character intro. um, Nintendo has, of course, their own fighting series that we're looking at that easily could just, uh, dwarf this. But I think it's important to really admire what Bamco have been able to do with Fighter Z here. This is great on Steam, runs super smooth. I like the PS4 release and the rest. It's everywhere now. So if you're playing this, you got no excuse not to practice. I have no excuse not to practice. Again, no definitive date this year for the port, but we do know it's coming this year, that you'll be able to play this on Switch. So if you've been a holdout, this is your shot. Also up on announcements, we had a brand new announcement trailer here for Killer Queen Black. This one's following the theme of looks like a 2D platformer, which has been pretty. The 2D and 2.5D games and some of the platform adventure explorations have been real anchors to a lot of the shows here that we've seen at E3 so far from, I think, each conference. Someone's had some form of 2D or some form of action platformer, and this is the one for Switch. It looks really nuts. You basically play as like a queen bee slash hornet, and you go on an insectoid slashing spree. So I don't know all the rest of the details yet. This is going to be even the date. We just know this is sometime a little later this year. It's going to be here in 2018. There's also it's important to note this is an indie game, and there's another one paired up along with it called Overcooked 2. This one's coming out August 7th of this year. So just so you know, those keep your books marked for that. And this goes alongside some other older announcements we had, not fresh here for E3, but bear in mind, you still got Hollow Knight for coming out for Switch, and also The World Ends With You Final Remix. The release date was defined on that for fall 2018. That's all we know yet. So in the pipe, it's coming. Fortunately, a lot of the stuff with Nintendo, once you get the rough date range, it narrows down and everything doesn't drag out too badly ad infinitum. So, but I can no longer steal the spotlight from what was hands down the most focused on game for Nintendo this E3, and that is the brand new Smash Brothers. That's Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Had a huge extra debut here. Of course, we've already seen the teaser trailer for this one, but we finally got a full look into it, and man, the big promise that Nintendo's delivering on with this one, sound like they've been listening to the fans and the Smash community, is the character selection, and really missing some of those who were, for example, just a DLC or didn't appear in another Smash or whatever else. You're not going to have to worry about that. This is the Smash Brothers title that will have every single Smash Brothers character from every single Smash Brothers game ever. Nintendo's boasting this as the biggest crossover of all time. I want to hit the pause button on that, because I look at some of the Capcom crossovers, SNK Chaos and SVK Chaos, I'm sorry, and the rest of those titles, and I kind of wonder. I think Capcom pushed the envelope on this first, but anyway, it's a real nutty selection. I had a showcase going through each character and put a number next to them as they did the gameplay demo, showing what was the order that they came in the Smash Brothers series, how early we saw these characters. Everyone from Mario, Samus, Kirby, Bowser, Link, Donkey Kong, so you always know, to Mewtwo, Sheik, and Ivysaur, Wario, Pac-Man, Diddy Kong, Lucario, Lucina, Bayonetta, Sonic the Hedgehog, which I'm really glad about, Mega Man. I could go on all day, but literally everyone's here. So whoever you're looking to main, whoever you loved as a main, you're going to get a chance to run them again. And what I like about this this huge crossover is they're not just bringing them into the new Smash Brothers and just sort of copy paste. Everyone's coming in with some kind of change or something, or some kind of UI or some kind of quality of life update. One of the couple of changes, for example, with Cloud, you're going to be able to distinguish his limit meter a lot better and at all times. Now, of course, you still have multiple costumes for him. You've got stuff like Link getting a brand new smash attack, and he can detonate his bombs remotely. Also, in general, a really cool trend I'm seeing here is characters getting changes that reflect some of their most recent adventures or newer games. Mario's got a couple things with him from his newest game, same with Link and a bunch of others. So if you've been keeping up with some Nintendo franchises, look out for those little Easter eggs because they're not just Easter eggs, they're going to affect gameplay. And that's great. I think that shows a lot of awareness and care for the characters, for the brand, and really a stark contrast to some of the things we've seen with other crossovers. It reminded me of what hurt Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite so much, of sort of placing a lot of these characters into space and them not really having that flavor, that excitement that you get when you get one of your favorite mains appear. For example, it's one thing to have Cable appear, great, but if he's completely monotone, flat FX, has no relation to the T virus or any of the glowing eye or any of his tech or anything. He just plays like some kind of weird straight soldier. You lose the flavor. But this game, this Smash Brothers, looks like it's keeping marinated in pretty high seasoning. I am 300% sure we're going to be seeing this at EVO for times to come, and I know the Smash community is going bonkers over this. I couldn't even keep up with the chat while I was watching stream for it, with everyone just blowing up. This would not be complete. I would be completely remiss if I did not mention the new character that's coming out, and that is Metroid's Ridley, the Death Cheater himself. I don't know how many times we got to kill this guy. Last time I killed him was Super Metroid. I have not kept up with the rest of the Metroid games. I know I skipped Other M and some of the others, but I really should go back and play. Regardless, Ridley's pretty awesome. He has some multi-directional flight attacks. He has a critical claw attack he can do, and really some powerful dive moves where you can kind of force your opponent off the ground or force him off the stage too. So, and they managed to pack him in without making him ridiculously tall or anything. They were talking about that was one of the struggles they ran into to make sure they could include him right. And Ridley's total, and his size has been all over the place. There's been older Metroids where he was a heck of a lot smaller than Super Metroid, where he's, I don't know, about 2.5 Samuses tall or something like that, crouch. So there's a lot of mileage that goes with that, but this is a pretty big deal. We also got to see the Inklings play out more. If you've been a Splatoon fan, or if you just know what Splatoon is, you might remember in the reveal trailer for this Smash Brothers, we had a chance to see some of the Splatoon characters playing around with the paint. And we got some more details in that, found out that the paint itself makes your opponents take more damage, so you might be able to make some really sick setups out of that. All in all, this is shaping up great. This is still in development, so just don't expect, a release date anytime really soon or instantaneously, but the fact that people were already able to get hands-on with this and they had a playable demo is a really, really good sign for the release itself. So, spinning to a different topic real quick, just to close things out in some of the coverage. I managed to tune back into Square's stream, and they actually have a schedule of their own, some of the things that were on point. There was, of course, more coverage of Tomb Raider and some of the things we've seen already, getting hands-on details with that, but FF14 and its dev team had its own panel. They did a live letter just to go over some of the things that are happening in 14. I think some of the biggest announcements being the upcoming Fan Fest in Las Vegas. That's this November 15th, if you're looking to come out to that. Talking a bit about the upcoming ticket sales, the orchestral events, and the current patch for 14, where things are heading, and of course what fans are looking for quality of life changes. So if you're looking for more in the live letter, I recommend you go check out the official FF14 forums. There's also going to be some more info going up there tonight about that. I know I definitely put an ear to the ground on that because this is all changes that affect me playing FF14 itself. That is going to do it, though, for our coverage today. Be sure to tune back in right here for more and all the rest of the good info that we find here at E3. It's been crazy so far, lots of fun, lots going on, and gonna have to go dig and swim for the rest because still these official schedules are being really elusive this year. Thank you all. Take care and have a great day. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, or anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it'd be great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.